The Skinstructors tip of the week. Never be afraid to ask questions. Whether you're a student, a brand new esthetician, or 20 years into your career, curiosity is what keeps you growing. Every pro you look up to was once in your shoes, asking the exact same questions. So ask boldly, keep learning, and remember, no one has it all figured out.
Welcome back to the Skinstructors. I'm Jolie.
And I'm Morgan. Today's episode's a little different. I'm really excited. We're going to do a Q&A session.
That's right. We've collected your questions, everything from students just starting out to seasoned estheticians to some fun behind-the-scenes stuff about us.
And we're going to answer them all. Raw, honest, and hopefully with a little humor.
This is one of our favorite formats because it feels like we're just sitting down with you in the break room over coffee, just talking shop.
Yep, absolutely. All right, you ready? Let's dive in. So the first question from Instagram is, I'm in aesthetics school and I'm feeling overwhelmed. Julie, she asked, what is one skill or service every new esthetician should master first?
That's a good question. I honestly think cleansing. Get a good cleanse down, or even just some good opening moves for when you're starting your facial treatment. Having that opening move and getting your client used to your touch, or getting in and doing a nice cleanse, like that really helps to relax the client.
Like
and
sets the tone.
Yeah, it gets them excited for their service they're about to receive.
I love that. I always heard if you can do great extractions and a great massage, you're going to have a client for life.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I agree with that, definitely.
I would say just the type A in me would say the consultation is my favorite. That like if you can master that and really meet your clients where they're at, you're gonna have a client for life.
Yeah,
for sure.
I agree. Okay, next question. How did you build your confidence when you were just starting out?
I mean, what more can you do but practice?
Yeah.
Practice. I did free or discounted services. I mean, obviously when you're in school, you've got all those random clients coming in you've never met. And I think working with the general public, you build confidence real quick.
Yeah,
for sure.
I totally agree with that. And honestly, I think too, like education, keeping up with educating yourself on anything, on skincare ingredients and the new treatments coming out, because clients are going to come in and ask you those questions, and it's nice to at least have a little bit of knowledge of what's going on.
Yeah, they saw it on TikTok. They want to know.
Absolutely.
Like, is this real?
Yeah, absolutely.
You tell them no. Stay off TikTok. I love that. All right, next question. What are some realistic first-year expectations for income or growth? That's a good question.
That is a really good question. I think this really depends on where you're working. Because that first year is truly just building. You're getting your name out, you're building your knowledge, you're building your clientele, and you're not banking. So don't expect to be fully booked yet by any means.
Yeah, I agree. I want to say it took about 3 full years of me behind the treatment table, of doing services. And I did all the things. I did facials, waxing, hydrofacial, makeup, all the things. And it took me about 3 years before I can confidently say, like, I was good with how much money I was making.
Yeah.
And, I remember days when I first started, I was working in a day spa environment, and I remember sitting there for 11 hours, and I had one brow wax on my books.
Yeah.
And it was so painful, but man, I maxed that appointment.
Yeah, absolutely.
I rebooked them. I sold them retail. I got them scheduled for their facial in the future. Like you have to max out like every opportunity.
Yeah,
always.
I agree. I totally agree with that.
I know a lot of the new estheticians that we see are very fortunate in how busy they are.
Yeah.
And we're, dollar wise, I would say 50 to 70,000 a year is is pretty reasonable for your first year.
Yeah,
if
I
you
completely agree.
really max out that time with each client.
Yeah. And I think too, just moments like what Morgan was saying, where she does have downtime, like don't just sit around and scrolling TikTok yourself. Put in some extra work. Maybe you have that extra time to make a nice social media post for yourself, or you take the time to research a certain skin disorder that you don't know much about. Like, still utilize those moments where you do have some downtime there.
Yeah. And I know it can be hard. If you have like a 9 a.m. brow wax and you don't have another brow wax until 6:30 at night,
right?
It's hard to stay motivated, but it's a mindset.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
How do you handle clients who want results outside of your scope, like medical procedures?
That's a good question. I'm always honest. I'll say something like, okay, well that is outside of my scope of practice, what we can do here, but here's how I can support you. And I also, like we mentioned in our last episode, I always have a couple dermatologists that I know I can recommend them to, and so I'll direct them that way. But I'm very clear on what my role is, and that's I'm here to support you. In your skin.
Yeah, and kind of going off of that too, I used to do relaxation massages, and a lot of the times I would have clients that would say deep tissue. They want you to work on the low back, and I would be real upfront in my consultations with those clients, and I would even send out like a pre-message to them of just laying out exactly what to expect. I'm an esthetician, and unfortunately deep tissue is outside of my scope of practice, but I can refer you to a massage therapist.
That's perfect. Love that. All right, Julie, next question. Best tips for preventing burnout?
Boundaries. Don't let clients' energies stick to you. It's tough. Like, we end up being a lot of the times that client's therapist. And it can be draining, especially if you're seeing, 7, 8 clients, 9 clients in a day. Take a walk, get a breather, do something to help reset in between appointments.
Yeah, I love that. I think also, like, don't overbook yourself. Maybe you have that hustler mentality, and I love that for you. But be aware of what you can handle. Don't overbook yourself. Obviously making more money is fantastic, but you have to protect your body. I know there were nights I would come home and my arms were like locked. Like I couldn't lift my shirt or lift my arms to like take my shirt off. It sucked. But I use that as a clue, like, hey, my body's telling me like I'm overworking. And so I was getting massages every 2 weeks, getting adjusted. And that really helped me for sure.
Yeah, with me, I was getting a lot of messages from clients at all hours of the day. And that might look a little differently for you, of maybe instead of giving out your personal number like I did, maybe just giving out your Instagram and having them reach out to you that way. It kind of just sets that up a little bit better, and then you're not getting messages to your personal phone at all hours of the day. How do you keep up with all the new technology and trends?
That's tough. I feel like there's something every other day. I think rather than chasing after every new gadget or every new trend, pick what you're passionate about and just stay in your lane. Like, if acne's your thing, be so informed and so educated about that topic, that new trends that might come and go, you're gonna know what actually works.
And stick to reliable sources. Continuing education, journals, and reputable trainers. This goes a really long way. Not so much TikTok trends. And own up sometimes. If a client comes to you asking about something and I have never heard of it, I'll be honest with them. I'll be like, hey, I actually haven't heard of that, but let me research that. And next time I see you, we can chat about it more.
Perfect. I love that. All right, next question. Do you recommend specializing or staying general?
Good questions. Specializing can help you stand out, like acne boot camps and corrective skincare or even brows. Mm-hmm. What about you? What do you think?
I think being well-rounded is valuable too. I mean, that's how I built my clientele. I literally did all of the things.
Yeah.
All of them. And I loved them all. There was definitely some that like I loved more than others. Mm-hmm. But I suggest starting general and then finding what you're passionate about and picking that specialty.
That's exactly what I was going to say, because I kind of started out the same way. At first, I was open for everything, and as I built that clientele, I started falling in love with different treatments more, and then that's what I ended up talking about and getting booked out more for.
Yeah.
But being open for everything at first really does help with
building
a clientele.
Absolutely.
Yeah. It that way your client can get all their treatments in one place.
Yeah. Absolutely.
What made you both become estheticians, and how did you end up in education/podcasting?
Well, for me, let's see. I went to school in 2009, and I believed I was going to be a famous makeup artist.
Wow. So did I.
Like, I was going to work on the celebrities.
Wow. Yeah.
Move to Hollywood. Whatever the calling was. That's what I was going to do. You know, makeup all the way.
I don't think I realized that, actually. Yeah. That was kind of how I started out, too.
Yeah. And then I started, I went to Aveda here in Columbus, and I realized I don't like doing makeup.
Yeah.
I mean, I will do it, and I'm good at it, fine, but it's not my passion.
Yeah.
But I loved everything else.
Yeah.
I loved it all. So I really fell in love with aesthetics in general, and, you know, after school, I was asked to stay on to be an instructor because, you know, that's what they do is they hire cheap and...
Yep.
They don't care if you know anything. I was a really good teacher, but...
Yeah, totally.
I was a good teacher, but I didn't have any real-world experience. I did that for a few years and then worked in the day spa environment for 5.5. Thought I wanted to go back into teaching full-time. And, you know, while I love teaching, I love managing spas way more. So I feel like, you know, it just naturally evolved into this, and I'm obsessed with educating, and I work with my VIP clients.
Yes, she does.
That's about it. But how did we get started on the podcast, honestly?
Okay, actually, no. We were at a conference last year at dinner.
Oh, we're like, we can do that better.
Yeah, we did actually say that. But Morgan had asked me, what are your big, hairy dreams? And I was like, oh, wow. And that's when we started getting into talking about podcasting, because I love podcasts personally. I listen to a lot of them. So our goal, I feel like as educators, we always just want to be able... and the reason I feel like I could say for both of us why we got into education is we wanted to be able to provide more education than what we maybe got in schools.
Absolutely.
And that's kind of how we felt with this podcast too, is just being able to reach more estheticians and professionals after, or maybe in school or after graduation.
Yeah.
I agree.
It's been a really fun journey.
I know.
We're just getting started.
It sure has. I agree.
Okay, Julie, I want to know, well, I guess the fans want to know. I want to know too. But your funniest or craziest thing that's happened in the treatment room, don't hold back.
Okay. I had this client and I had just switched over from doing brow tinting to henna. I had a lot of brow clients and I wanted something that lasted longer and looked a little bit better. And I had this client and she would ask me, you know, she always wanted me to tint her brows dark because she wanted them to last longer. And I got the henna and she said, okay, I still want them dark. And I said, no, you're not going to want them dark because this is going to last longer and it's going to look a little bit better too. And she was adamant on me still doing them dark. So I said, okay, I gave in and I did them dark and I gave her the mirror and she goes, oh, wow. I said, yeah, I told you. And she was like, all right. She goes, well, that's all right. You know, whatever. She paid. She left.
You're like, you're going to have those for a while.
No, literally. I was like, okay. They were bold. And so she came back however many weeks later and she goes, yeah, I think you're right. Like, I don't want to do them as dark this time. And I was like, yeah. And she was like, yeah, when I got home, my daughter, she had a young daughter, was like, Mommy, why are you so angry?
No, she scared her. That's
yeah, her brows were so bold. She looked angry. So after that, she learned.
Yeah. Well, at least you warned her.
Yeah.
That's funny.
How about you?
Oh, okay. I've had some interesting clients.
Yeah.
For sure. I feel like when I was at the day spa, like my clients were pretty chill, but waxing clients, you get like, you hear all the things.
Yeah.
Especially when you're doing Brazilians.
Absolutely.
Like, they're feeling vulnerable.
Yep.
They are exposed.
Yep.
And they are going to share the juiciest stories.
Crazy.
And like some of them would make me have to turn around and like just make faces at the wall. Like, what just happened here?
Yeah.
As I'm like stirring the wax. Yeah. So I feel like I definitely had some conversations that are not podcast friendly, not our podcast friendly.
Sure.
You know, I think we have a clean rating, so I'm not going to share exactly what was told, but yeah, some raunchy conversations for sure. And it's like, it's sometimes hard to steer your the conversation out of that.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, because they're in it and they're already telling you, so they're just going to go and keep telling you every little detail of it.
So definitely had some interesting chats there. I would say I also encountered some interesting clients for my students when I taught. I'm sure you did too.
Sure did.
Like these clients are coming in, they're prepared to pay $5 for their service. And, you know, it's interesting.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's very interesting. And some of them, they won't take no for an answer. I actually went to cosmetology school for 6 months before transitioning to just aesthetics. And we had a client who brought in her kids for haircuts, and you know, we started the haircut and they had lice and we had to stop. Oh yeah. And we had to stop. And I mean, the mom went, berserk. She wouldn't leave.
Oh no.
We had multiple instructors out telling her no.
Yeah.
And they ended up having to call the police because she would not leave. Yeah. It was rough. So it's just,
she's like, my kids are getting their hair cut.
She said, you already started it. You're not stopping it. Yeah. Yeah. So it was just, it was crazy. And that was like 2 weeks out on the floor. I had just fresh out on the floor and client like that. So
yeah, I feel very fortunate about my small number of crazy stories. I feel like, even though, you know, I can be a little crazy.
Sure.
I think you attract like your tribe. You know what I mean? Like, if you're calm, you're going to have calm clients for the most part. There's always the exception.
Totally.
Always the exception. But I think you definitely attract your tribe.
I agree. I think back all the time. When I was providing full time, I really had like a great clientele. People I really enjoyed seeing and couldn't wait to catch up and chat to.
Yeah.
And I just had a great clientele. I couldn't complain. Of course, I had a crazy once in a while, but it was very few and far in between.
Yeah. Okay, I have a follow-up question.
Okay.
What is the biggest mistake you made in the treatment room?
Okay, good question. I think about this often.
I think about mine too.
Yeah. So I got trained on dermaplaning, and I went to a place in person and got trained. And they had talked about the blade to use, the 10R, but they gave us a bunch of other different blades to try too. And they didn't say to not use it.
Here's these surgical blades.
Truly. I mean, and it was a big Ziploc bag full of blades. And they did say, you know, the 10R blade is the most commonly used one, but there's multiple blades in your kit here, and you can go home and try which ones that you like the most. So whatever, I did. And, you know, I had done some models and everything like that, and I had used the not 10R blade, let me put it that way. I don't know which one. And a girl that I had went to actually cosmetology school with had come in and got a facial. So in this facial, I dermaplaned her and, you know, sent her on her merry way. And it was either that night or the next day. She messaged me and she had little, basically like cuts all over her skin. They looked like little, like worse than paper cuts, you know. And this blade was so sharp and I just tore her face up. I mean, it was terrible and I felt terrible. And at the time I couldn't see the little slice because they were like so light.
Yep.
You couldn't really see it during it. And yeah, I mean, her face was tore up and I was sick to my stomach. I felt terrible about it. You know, I refunded her and I, you know, apologized and offered her to come back in for treatment products and things like that. No. Never heard from her again. Never talked to her again. Nothing. And to this day, it makes me so sad.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
I feel like any of us who dermaplane, we have a horror story.
Yeah, truly.
For sure.
And after that, I went and did more training because I was so upset about it.
Good for you. Yeah. Good for you.
And that's when I learned. 10R, that's it.
You're like, not touching those.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay, well, so my horror story, the thing that keeps me up at night that I think of often, I had this client who, she was in high school, and she struggled with acne. I had been doing her eyebrows for, years at this point. And she said, okay, I'm starting Accutane next month. And I was like, okay, no problem. We're going to switch to... Now, I had already been doing hard wax on her because of all the topicals that she was using.
Yeah.
So I'm like, okay, no problem. Like, just heads up, you're starting Accutane. I'm going to have to tweeze your eyebrows, moving forward. And then even, you know, several months after you're done with Accutane, still going to tweeze you. So she comes in the next month. I tweeze her. All is good. She comes in the next month. Pretty sure it was month 3 that I forgot. It wasn't even that. It wasn't even that I forgot she was on Accutane. It was like my brain just forgot that I have to tweeze her. I know you're on Accutane, and I am going to use hard wax on you.
Right.
And even that hard wax ripped her skin up. Terrible. And I'm pretty sure she had either school pictures or prom or homecoming or something big was like the next week. And I was mortified.
Yeah.
I still think about that.
Oh, I
still
know.
think about
Been
that.
there.
It's terrible.
Been there. That's happened to me before a wedding or to a client before a wedding. Yeah.
Yeah. It happens to us all.
The worst.
You just got to learn from it.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh.
All right. Next question.
If you could go back and give your younger esthetician self one piece of advice, what would it be?
I know. I got to put myself into those shoes. I don't know. I feel like probably comparing myself, although I'm very competitive.
You are.
And I can't not compare.
Yeah.
I'm always like, what is she doing? I love that. Don't love that. I want to be like her. Don't want to be like her. Whatever it is. I am very competitive. And I feel like that is what has pushed me to keep pursuing education. Yeah. But it's not healthy. It's not healthy. I think I think there's, there's plenty of celebrity estheticians out there. And I hear, them mentioned frequently. And it's like, guys, we are not her. And that's okay. We can be ourselves.
Right.
We can be ourselves.
I agree with that. Definitely.
Yeah. What about you?
Definitely. Honestly, so I booth rented for a bit and I think I really undercharged for my services.
Okay. You didn't see the value in it?
Yeah, I kept thinking I'm a newer esthetician and I wanted to build my clientele.
You're like $5 brow waxes on Fridays.
Yeah, literally. I would discount my services tremendously.
Oh.
I think just everything that my facials included, like they could have been, more than $55.
Yeah.
Just a little bit, know. So just things like that.
Yeah.
I definitely wish I would have. And I had, fellow estheticians tell me that, but I was chalking up to like, I'm in a small town and I'm the only esthetician in town and I want to make sure people are coming to me.
Yeah.
But I think, do your research and don't discredit yourself and your worth and your value.
Yeah.
Honestly.
I love that.
Yeah.
Okay. That was so much fun.
That was fun. I loved
that.
Yeah.
All right, I love getting to hear what's on your minds and being able to share from both our experiences and our mistakes.
These episodes always remind me that whether you're in aesthetic school or you're 15 years into your career, we're all navigating similar challenges.
Yeah, and that's why we love this community.
Yeah.
It's supportive, it's curious, and it's always growing.
Yeah. So thank you so much to everyone who submitted questions. And if we didn't get to yours, please don't worry. We'll definitely do more of these Q&A episodes in the future.
Yeah, and if you can't wait for that, and if you have a question that you want featured or you need answered now, just send us a message, DM us on Instagram at STTraining. We love hearing from you guys.
Yeah, absolutely. And don't forget to subscribe, rate, and review the podcast. It really does help us out and help us reach other estheticians who need the support. And as always, don't hesitate to educate.